our little secret, and how when the children are abused by the politicians, the children are then used in satanic ritual so they can't tell. You see, another extraordinarily powerful way that this has been kept under wraps is that what's happening in the world is so fantastically different to what people are told and believe is happening in the world that they can't, often though it's changing, bridge that enormous gap between the way they perceive the world to be. Why? Because that's how they're told it is, and how it really is. Which is when people like me come in here and say, this is what's happening, they go, you're crazy, you're mad, you're mentally ill. But someone's got to say this. Otherwise, this never gets exposed. And this goes on. Children go on being tortured. They go on being sexually abused. They go on being killed. Just look in the face. I did this once, Theo, you know. When I started to understand what was going on, I was in a movie theater in America, and I'd just begun to understand it. I'd just seen the scale and the depth of it. And I got out of my chair at the end of the movie, and I turned around, and I started walking up the stairs to the exit, and a father stepped in front of me out of another kind of row. And as he walked in front of me, he had his child, his little boy, on his shoulder, looking over at me. Mm-hmm. And I looked in that little boy's face, and I cried my freaking heart out. Because kids like that, on an enormous, fantastic scale, are being abused, are being tortured, and are being sacrificed, while people on bloody Twitter go, what about him? Did you see what's on telly tonight? Eh? Grow up, people. This is what's happening in the world, and we need to face it. Because if we don't, and people don't have the guts to come out and not only face it, but communicate it, like Robert Greene over there, with Holly Gregg, fantastic, and Anne Gregg, they don't have the guts to do that. Well, while this is going, oh, what's on telly tonight, honey? This is what's happening to these kids. And so this is why I, and others, I'm not alone, this is why I focus on this stuff, and what people make of it is up to them. But I ain't going to shut up about it. And I ain't going to shut up whatever anyone does, whether it's the authorities or not. I mean, watch me. As long as my mouth moves and these things keep vibrating, I ain't shutting up about this.
Okay.
Whatever they try to do to shut me up, as they're trying to shut Robert Greene up and Anne Gregg up and all the rest of it.
Okay.
We have to keep going with this and look in those children's faces and say, not doing this, not exposing this, is simply not an option, so how are we going to do it?
OK, I've got a question here, which I think is quite a good question. I don't know who it's from. It says, hello, David, why can't we counter these different vibrations with technology? Surely these frequencies can be disrupted. Or maybe we could see them with some device.
Well, this is a really interesting area, because it kind of brings us to the whole thing about the moon that I'm talking about.
Let's talk about
I mean, there's such a lot of information to dot connect, which is why the book's so substantial, before the apparently bizarre starts to make any kind of sense. What happened? This is relevant to why we can't see some of these things, and why we can't see, I would suggest, a great deal that is actually around us, because we're switched off from it. I went through the same sequence that I've gone through so often when I was writing this book. I sat in my chair. I was going to start writing that day. And the atmosphere in the room changed. I thought, here we go. And then I got this just clear as day thought come into my mind. The moon's not real. The moon's not like you think it is. The moon's not real. I'll explain more in a second. But so, because I'm used to this, I didn't just dismiss it. I thought, okay. And I just put a few key words into a search engine. along this line, actually not expecting to find anything. And immediately up came a book called Who Built the Moon?
Yeah.
And I thought, Who Built the Moon? What a title, what's just happened to me. It came out a few years ago, not many, many years ago, but a few years ago. I'd never heard of it, actually, but I got it and read it. And I thought it was excellent. I do recommend it, where they're looking at the anomalies about the moon. And not only the anomalies, which are very strange and unexplainable unless the moon is not a natural heavenly body, shall we say. And also the incredible synchronicity of geometry and mathematics, etc., between the moon, the earth, and the sun. Anyway, it's like everything. You know, we're coming back to this chasm thing, Theo, that I talked about. When we're born into the world, we understandably accept what it's like when we arrive. This is one of the dangers of children now being born into a world of great surveillance in their schools and their lives, because, well, this is how it is, you know. You know, we still, in our generations, have the ability to look how it was to how it is, and we can say, hey, this is not right. But if you're born into this, and this is what generations are now, then suddenly it's, well, this is how it is, isn't it? You know, this is the world. We are really the last generations that have had the ability to see that difference. And it's the same principle with the moon, because you look at the moon, it comes up all your life, and there it goes. But when you start asking questions about it, like I did once this theme started, it's like, I didn't know that.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing.
It is amazing.
It is amazing.
All in this book, by the way. This is the book here, in case you haven't seen what it looks like.
It is amazing because according to what some scientists have said, is that, first of all, it shouldn't be there. I mean, one guy said the only thing you can say about the moon is it's observational error, because it shouldn't be there. And another was pointing out that the Earth's gravitational field, etc., wouldn't definitely have a satellite at all. And if it did, it would be tiny. One postulated maybe 30 miles across.
Like Phobos or Deimos for Mars.
Yeah. That bugger is 2,160 miles in diameter. Look at it. Why is it there? How is it there? And anyway, I then came across this very substantial article by these two Soviet scientists from the Soviet Academy of Sciences in the 70s, where they actually said that the moon is a hollowed-out planetoid.
Because it's very undense, isn't it?
Undense, yeah. It's a hollowed-out planetoid by a very, again, highly advanced technological race. Could we do that? No. Could they do that? Yes. This is the mind-opening